All right, welcome everyone. My name is Eric, and welcome to tonight's info session from Neotech Academy on our software testing boot camp. Although we will be teaching you a lot more than just software testing. We're going to answer all of your questions tonight as far as what it is that we do, who we are, what do we do, is a career in IT worth it? And what does it look like? So we're going to go through all of those things with you tonight. I'm always excited when we do one of these events. We don't do these very often. We might do them a couple of times a month, really at the most. So we, yeah, I love the opportunity to meet with people, and really this boot camp really winds up being a life-changing opportunity. And here's why I say this. I say this because people can finally get paid what they're worth, for a change. You've got the flexibility potential, the remote opportunities which are available. You're not tied down to an office necessarily. There are some companies that want you to come in on a hybrid type basis. They might want you to come into the office, like every now and then, but there are a lot of remote opportunities available, and we're going to talk about that. I asked a moment ago, what are some characteristics of your ideal job? I got six screens here, guys. So if I if I'm looking around here, just bear with me. And my monitors, some of you probably have the same setup or similar. They go all the way around me here. So I've got the chat way over here on this screen. But here are some things that you guys typed into the chat as far as your ideal job is concerned. You said fun, creative environment. I love that. With flexible hours, great pay, as well as benefits. Working for myself, flexible. Here's fun again. Flexible, fun, travel related, high earning, rewarding, flexible. I'm seeing a lot of flexibility, working remotely. And here's the good news, you're in the right place. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, man, that's what I want too. I want flexibility. I want to have some fun and I want to get paid what I'm worth. But you might feel I'm not really qualified to do anything like what you're referring to. Well, here's the good news. Number one, we're going to train you on how to get a career in IT going. We'll even help you land your first job. We have a job placement program, which will tell you all about how this works in just a few minutes. And it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your degree is in, or if you don't even have a degree. See, here's the beauty of this. What companies care about is, can you do the job, which we're going to be training you to do. So don't worry about what your background is. Don't worry about what your age is. I get this question often. What if I'm too old? What if I'm in my 40s, my 50s, my 60s, and I'm starting a new career? Can I do that? Yes. Again, companies care about, can you do the job? What if English is my second language? That's okay. I mean, can you communicate at all in English? I mean, you'll have to communicate in English, but don't worry if English is your second language. That's not a big deal either. So, background doesn't matter. I don't care what you're doing right now. I've seen a lot of people from blue collar jobs getting involved with this. I've seen people in the white collar fields getting involved in this. I've seen a lot of teachers and medical professionals making that transition into IT. So it doesn't matter what you're doing right now. Again, you're in the right place. Write down that date, September 7th, 2025. That's going to be the date of our new 6-month boot camp. And we're going to tell you all about the boot camp here in this next hour. Okay. I'm going to do my best to keep this within about an hour here. In a few minutes, I'm going to have one of my colleagues who's really one of our founders and lead instructor, Elion. He's going to come on in just a few minutes. He's going to introduce himself to you, tell you more about the company. I'm also going to be interviewing an alumnus, so you'll be able to talk to him and ask him questions and get his experience. And here's the thing: he was in your shoes, sitting in a webinar just like this, wondering, can these guys really help me? And now his life's been completely changed. So we're going to do all of that, talk about all those things here in the next hour. So first of all, why consider a career in IT? Well, I'm sure a lot of you would agree that the fastest growing occupations really are in the IT industry. For the next generation, everything is going to be tech related. Jobs are available in all major cities. Don't do it now, but later on, after we're done, just go to a job board. whatever job board that you normally go to, whether it's Indeed or maybe you look for jobs on LinkedIn or Glassdoor, whatever the case may be, and look for opportunities, some of the ones that we're going to be talking about tonight in your area. I mean, they're all over the country. And the beauty of it is, again, you don't have to have the things that you would normally think that you would have to have, such as, 4-year degree, advanced degree, and all that. Companies just want to know if you can do the job, which we're going to train you to do. We're going to give you experience on actual projects, help you out with your CV, your resume, and then do everything we can to help you land that first job. So there are a variety of career opportunities, easy career growth, higher salaries. This is probably the big thing that you want to see here. What am I going to get paid potentially? Well, you'll see some examples. I can't guarantee everybody's going to be making 150 grand, your first year, but I think you'll be pretty impressed with the initial salaries that we're going to show you from some of our graduates here in just a few minutes. Okay. Now, a number of you said that you were interested in something remote. Now here's what's it's one of the things I love about the IT industry. Remember back when COVID started? It was like 5+ years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long. And you probably recall a lot of companies were shut down. Some parts of the country, it was worse than others. And some countries were worse than others as far as the lockdowns were concerned. But here's my point. A lot of companies were shut down. A lot of people were out of work, if you recall. The government had to step in and pay people, because the government was requiring people either on a state level or federal level to stay home. Well, here's the thing. In the IT industry, which is what we're talking about tonight, there were already an abundance of remote opportunities available. In other words, we were already used to that. We were already used to working remotely as it is. And so COVID, the pandemic, only increased those opportunities. So I think if I can just expand on that for a second, if you'll indulge me, I think we learned a couple of big things when it came to the pandemic. Maybe you guys will agree with this. Number one, we learned that tomorrow's not a guarantee. It really isn't. Tomorrow's not a guarantee. And secondly, you've really got to have a skill set that can make you money regardless of what's going on in the world. And again, if that's a concern of yours, if you're like, man, what if there's another pandemic and the industry I'm in right now is not really remote. I have to go into an office. What if I'm out of work? Well, consider IT because we're already primarily remote as it is. Again, some companies do require to come into the office every now and then, in a hybrid type role. And some people prefer, going into an office. I'm not saying remote is the only way to go. Some people do prefer going into an office when they first start out, at least, so that way they get the camaraderie and they feel like it's more hands-on. But COVID only increased the opportunities that were available. And again, language, English is your second language. Don't worry about it. No matter what your background is, education, you're in the right place. Software testing. First of all, what is a software tester? It sounds pretty self-explanatory, but let me just run through a couple of quick things with you, okay? Companies are willing to pay people, just like you, to test out their applications before they're introduced to the public. Why? Because they don't want to introduce a product to the public that's flawed. So what do? They hire people to test out the software to make sure that everything is done correctly, was done correctly by the development team. So they want to make sure that the font is correct. They want to make sure that the color scheme is correct. They want to make sure, here's the big one, that it actually is, can be used, that it's not crashing every time you try to use it. So, if all of you joining me here tonight, I don't even have to ask this question if you've actually used an application before. Everybody here has used it. I already know that. Everybody here has used IG or, Facebook, TikTok, Uber, whatever the case may be, Lyft. So imagine Uber was just about ready to launch their app, okay? Well, the last thing they would want is to introduce this app and it crashes all the time. You don't want the cars to crash, of course, but you also you don't want the application to crash either, right? So they hire people to go through a checklist. It's called the requirements, and you, as a software tester, will simply check off each requirement to make sure everything was done correctly. Now, here's some more good news for you. I have a lot of good news for you tonight, I guess, right? So the good news about this is you don't have to correct the problem because that's a question that people normally have. Well, if I find a problem, do I have to fix it? No, no, no. You simply make a note of the bug, whatever's wrong, and you'll have a form that you fill out where you mention that, and then you give it to the developer. You're really a part of the development team in this case, and then the software developer winds up correcting the problem. Okay, so just from like a 30,000 foot view, does that make sense about what the responsibilities of a software tester is? I just want to pause for a second and check out the chat. Does that make sense? You're just testing out the software before the public gets it, before the public starts using it. Make sense? Pretty straightforward. And notice the high paying job opportunities. We're talking 90,000 plus, generally speaking. And that's really subject to what area you live in. Some areas of the country pay more than others because of the cost of living. If you live in the Northeast, you're probably going to be making more than someone living in the Southeast, except maybe for Florida, I suppose, right? Okay, so how do we do this? How do we actually teach you? What's the process that we have? And I'm going to go through. Actually, Elion, when he comes on, he'll go through the schedule with you. Don't worry if you have a job already. We have plenty of students who have an existing full-time job and they're still able to do this. So we do our classes through Zoom. Just as you're watching right now, this is how we do the classes. But let me expand on that a little bit. So I'm going through a PowerPoint presentation, okay? I don't know about you guys, but I have a difficult time learning more high level type things from just like a PowerPoint, having somebody just tell me what to do. The way I learn, and maybe some of you again can relate to this, don't just tell me what to do. I need you to show me what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And then you got to let me do it. And then you let me know if I'm doing it correctly. That's how I learn best. And there's actually a name for it. It's called experiential training. Some of you might be familiar with that. I don't know. Maybe you can type into the chat. Are you similar to, learning more complicated or complex things, in that manner? I mean, some things are really straightforward. You can probably watch a little video and get it. But and I'm not saying that this is going to be super, super complicated for you. I'm just saying that the way we have found to be the best way to teach people is, yeah, we go through a PowerPoint presentation, but we really show you how to do things. We have homework, we have projects for you to work on. We teach you soft skills too. So we got the soft skills. We don't leave any stone unturned. Everything you could possibly think of to be successful to land that first job, we're going to help you do. And we're going to make sure you're doing everything correctly, that you're also prepared for your interview. So we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes, okay? But how do we actually teach you? Similar to what you're seeing right now. And or Elian will go through the scheduling in just a few minutes, what days it takes place. If you miss it, don't worry. We record the sessions. You can always watch the recording. That's no big deal. Now, we're very proud of this because Course Report, which is very well respected in the industry, rated us in 2023 as the best quality assurance testing bootcamp, as well as in 2024. These are big accolades, guys. Best QA testing bootcamp in 2024. Career Karma rated us in 2024 also as the best software testing bootcamp. So again, if you haven't done so, write this date down, September 7. That's going to be the beginning of our 6-month accelerated course. Here's one of the great things about our bootcamp. You're going to learn more in 6 months than it would take most people literally years to learn on the job. We are going to compress it down to 6 months, what would normally take people, years to learn on the job. And so think about that for a second. Think about where you are right now, and then imagine where you could be 6 months after the boot camp, because you'll have a skill set that nobody can take away from you. We were talking about that earlier. COVID came along, the pandemic came along, and who knows what's going to come along next? It could be COVID, 25 or something. Who knows, right? But when the rest of the world gets shut down, pretty good chance, being in the IT industry, you're still going to be thriving. And by the way, I'm not hoping that there's going to be a COVID 25 or anything. I'm just saying, worst case scenario, if something like that were to happen again, God forbid, you're ready to go and you've got the skill set, like I said, that nobody can take from you. So a 6-month accelerated course, you get hands-on experience on real projects. Software development, engineering, test could be something that you might go into that's more automated. Software testing is the career path that a lot of people get into when they first make that transition into the IT industry. Now, don't worry if you're looking at some of these terms here and you're unfamiliar with them and you get a little confused. I always say this, when you're seeing something for the first time, you're supposed to be confused. I remember back when I was in high school and I took calculus and I was like, why am I even taking calculus? It's I found it to be almost unnecessary. I found it kind of complicated. But you know what? By my second semester, the things I had heard in the first semester, I had that down. Why? Because I had already done it so many times. So I could probably have been a tutor afterwards for what I learned, for the first semester. So if somebody was struggling with first semester type stuff, I had it down. But at first, here's my point, I didn't really, I wasn't really all that motivated to learn it. But once I got it down, then it just made perfect sense. Then I'm like, oh, okay, well that's pretty easy. So when you see terms like Scrum Master or ETL tester or API tester, you'll be exposed to all of these terms. And as when you graduate from the boot camp, you're going to think, man, you know what? After if I do decide to become a software tester, I might very well become a Scrum Master or an ETL tester or an API tester or whatever the case may be. But you'll be exposed to these different fields and get some experience, hands-on live experience, to be able to take that next step when that next step presents itself. So here's what I want to do. I want to bring on one of our founders, Elion. He's going to introduce himself to you, tell a little bit about himself, a little bit more about Neotech Academy. Also, he's got an interview with one of our graduates, which is always very exciting. So we have a lot going on. I'll come back on a little bit later, go through the tuition, the money back guarantee, all that good stuff. But Elion, you want to go ahead and take it away?
Okay, thank you, Eric, for the introduction. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and then I'm gonna talk about a little bit about the course and what we teach there, and of course I'm gonna go over some offers that our students got, and then after that, right, and also I'm gonna talk about the schedule of the program, and then after that, Eric will come back and then talk about the price because that's the most important part of the info session. So my name is Elion Limanai, and I have been a software developer for 20 years right now. So together with our friends, we decided to create a boot camp to help people that want to start a career in IT. So software testing is one of the easiest way to start working in the IT. So right, we start teaching manual testing. So this is the flow of our course. We start teaching manual testing at the beginning, right? You learn about what is how do you test the software, right? And then how do you report if you see a bug, and you learn these things how to do them manually. And then after that, of course, we don't stop there because we don't want our students to be manual testers, because manual testers is like low paid, and also what is more important is that more and more now the companies are moving into uh, automation testing, right? So what is automation testing? Is you're testing the software using a script, using a programming language, right? So you are automating that process instead of doing manually every time. So that's why we teach you coding and programming. We teach you Java programming language. Java is one of the strongest programming languages, is one of the most commonly used. Of course, there are a lot of other programming language out there, but if you learn one of them and if you're strong in one of them, you definitely can go to a company, even if they're using a different, let's say, programming language, still you can do the same job with a different programming language. It's easy switch if you learn one of them. So this is like the base of our boot camp. You spend the first 3 months of the boot camp learning coding, learning Java, learning the things there. It's because after that, on top of it, we'll learn about testing tools, right? So after that one, we'll learn about software testing, right? We'll learn about Selenium, TestNG, Cucumber. Those are the tools that allow you to open the browser, to communicate with the browser, to send commands, and to take screenshot when needed, click on the buttons, click on the checkbox, do all those stuff with your code, right? You have, like, you learn those scripts, how to do these things with your code. And then of course, at the end, if the things that you're trying to test, if they work fine, you can take the screenshot and put it in the past file and then if they don't work fine, then you take a screenshot, I put in the failed, so that you can create a report and right and automate that report so that it's given to your supervisor. So if you catch right, if you catch a bug, the good thing about software testing is that you're not supposed to fix it. Your job is just to catch a problem and to report it to the team. The team of software developers, those are responsible. They get the report from you, they see what failed, they go and fix those stuff, and then right before the next update, they inform you, and then again you do a test. So that is right, that is the process in general. So this is right, whatever the user sees, right, it's called front end of the software, the front part, whatever the user sees. So you learn about front end testing until here. But of course, all these data are stored somewhere, which we call it a database, right? So for example, if you are using Facebook, for example, right? So all the users there, all the posts that you're sharing, all your likes and comments and everything are stored somewhere, which is called the database. So that is the back part of the software, which the users don't see. So you also going to learn about database and API, which are the back part of the software, which, as I said, the users don't see. So you're going to learn how to test database, how to test API, and with that part, you are considered as backend tester. So you are front-end tester, you're backend tester, and if you know both of them, you are full stack tester. Why do we teach both of them? Because we want you to be exposed to more and more job openings, and the more knowledge you have, it will be better for your resume, and it will be better, hopefully, for your let's say when you find a job, for your salary, right? So these are the technical parts that we teach in our bootcamp. But of course, also we have once a week we have a class, we call it soft skills. So we teach you about, we prepare you for the interviews. Why? Because at the end of the bootcamp, the purpose of the bootcamp is not only to teach you, but for you to be able to go and to apply for the jobs, to ace those interviews, and to get offers, right? So how to prepare your resume, how to talk in the interviews, what are the meetings that we do, right? All those things that are not probably technical in coding, but they are very important, because in all of the interviews, those are the things that will be asked to you, right? Those, if you had a problem with your manager, right? How do you fix, right? Uh, how do you fix that problem, right? Stuff like that. So when we're done with this part, right? We're done with the bootcamp. But of course, we have our career placement or job placement team. That team, what it will do, they will help you, right? Our team will help you even after the bootcamp. So when we're gonna be applying for the jobs, you're probably gonna get offers. Sometimes you get multiple offers. Which one is better? Which one should you go with? Or sometimes some recruiters, they're asking you for some information that probably you're not supposed to share with them. So we have a team which will help you during that part, the process of finding a job, and then share some tips, share some information, and then a lot of some of our alumni, probably they have a job openings in their company, they share it with us, and our team will share it with you, right? So these are the tools that we teach in our bootcamp. And of course, I mean, there are a lot of things here. I don't want you to be scared, because we have done this one 10 times until now, right? So this is our 10th batch that we're going to start in September. And by the way, the start date is September 7th, right? As also Eric mentioned. So these are the tools. So I talked about Java programming language. I told about Selenium, TestNG, Cucumber. Those are the tools that allow you to communicate with a right with an application. Then also we have the part that you're communicating with the backend. So Postman, MySQL, rest assured, these are the tools that allow you to communicate with database and API. Of course, also we teach GitHub. That's a very important tool that is used for the developers when they share their code with each other, when you're collaborating with a team. We teach right about Jira software. What is Jira software? Jira is an a application, right, that is used in IT industry. When you are in a team, you're supposed to do your part, right? So that, let's say you are 3, 5 people in a team, and every week you have like things that you have to do. So everybody gets their own tasks. They fill their bucket, let's say, right? And then during the week they do everything. At the end of the week, there is a meeting that you go through what you did, what you couldn't do, and what you're going to do next week, right? And we talk about these things in our soft skills classes, which are on Wednesday. So how do you learn in our bootcamp, right? So I talked a little bit about the tools. So we have classes. All our classes are live. we don't have pre-recorded classes. Every class is live. Of course, it's recorded and shared with you. So if you want to watch that class later, or if you weren't able to join the class and you want to watch the recording, you definitely can watch. It will be shared with you, but all the classes are live so that you can join those classes. You can ask your questions. And besides the teacher, which or the instructor which is teaching, we also have assistants, people which will help you if you have any technical problems. So of course we have individual project and group project in our during our boot camp. We have a big group project which people will work together, right? Students will work together and finish a group project as it's done in real job environment. So of course, if anybody has extra questions besides the classes, these are extra office hours. One of the instructors will be there. If you have questions, they will help you with that one. Every class, guys, we give tasks. After the class, we give homework. And then in the next class, we solve the homework together with the students to see how you solved it and how we do it. Uh, of course, we also have coding challenges. Why? Because when you go to the interviews, right? When you go to the interviews, sometimes they give you coding challenges. So we give those type of coding right examples exercises to you so that you're prepared for the interview. So at the end of the bootcamp, guys, each and every student goes through our final assessment. We call it mock interview. One of our instructors, one of our mentors, they will interview each of the students, right? They will ask questions about what is Java, what is this part in Java, how did you do this one in your project, right? Things that are asked in real interviews. So one of our instructors will ask those questions to you to make sure that you are ready, right? If you're ready to answer those questions. If you pass our mock interview, it means that you're ready for the market. You go and you start applying for the job. Of course, you prepare your resume. Our team, right, our job placement team, they go over your resume and then you start applying for the job. If you don't pass our mock interview, it means that you're not ready for the market. We give you some feedback, right? The purpose of the mock interview is not to scare you, but it's to make sure that you're ready. And then again, you can come back and do another mock interview. So every week, right, we have classes, we have reviews of the week, we have projects, we have quizzes, and also we have our mentor sessions. So mentors are those people that probably went through this process 3, 5 years ago. Now there are seasoned, experienced testers. They have a lot of experience. They come to our boot camp and share their experience with our students in small groups once a week. Those are extra hours besides the classes. So these are our mandatory classes, right? Of course, if you cannot join, it's not a problem. You can watch the recording, but these are the classes. Besides this one, we also have extra hours like office hour if you need, or also mentor sessions with our mentors once a week. So every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 days a week is 3 hours on Tuesday, 3 hours on Wednesday, 3 hours on Thursday. It makes a total of 9 hours. And Saturday and Sunday, it's 4 hours on Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday. It makes a total of 9 hours. So by the way, guys, all the times here, right? It's Eastern time, meaning that I call it New York or New Jersey time. If you are in a different time zone, probably in, let's say, in California, right? So it means that your hours will be from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Or on weekends, it will be from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., depending on your time zone, right? So please make sure you make your calculations and try to adjust your schedule according to the bootcamp. The schedule is done in a way that you can still continue working on your company. You can still, let's say, if you work in, I don't know, Uber or in any, right, in a Dunkin' or whatever, or probably you're a teacher and you're working in a school, so you can still continue working, and then in the like evenings or in the afternoon you can join the boot camp. We have had a lot of students, like I can say maybe 80% of the students, they are working during the boot camp and they can do the boot camp. There are some of them that have some financial, let's say, savings that they don't have to work during the boot camp, but most of them, they're able to do the boot camp while working at their job. So very important, the boot camp will start on September 7th, and then it will go like that for like 6 to 7 months, because also we have some projects and stuff, so it takes a little bit more than 6 months. But at the end of the 7 months, you will be ready to look for jobs. You'll be ready to go to the interviews, and hopefully in a couple of months you'll be able to find the job. Okay, so that is our schedule, that is our program. So let me just go over job placement. So how does our job placement or career placement team help the team? So they, as I said, like one of our instructors, they do the mock interview, right, to make sure that you have learned everything. We have sessions about resume building, and of course we go over each of our students' resume. So if a student is ready to go to the market, they prepare a resume, but they share it with our team, and our team goes over it to make sure that they tweak it and to make sure that it's perfect for their market. Also, we have sessions about, right, market knowledge, right? So how to apply for a job, where to apply for a job, and then a lot of skill enhancement classes when we teach about, right, how to, right, let's say, deal with a recruiter. And then if you have any uh, offers or something, right, how to deal with it and how to make sure that you're getting the most of your offers. And also I mentioned one-on-one mentoring. So we have our experienced, let's say, testers, right, which have been working in this field for like more than 5 years now. They will have sessions with small groups to help, right, to ask questions one-on-one with the students. And of course, we have a lot of big alumni network. There are a lot of alumni there which are working, right, probably hundreds of people that are working in different companies. Sometimes there's a job openings there. They shared with us, and our job placement team, they are trying to share that with our students depending on the region that they're located, or depending on the, let's say, on the expert level that they are. uh, and of course, right, our team helps you also with salary negotiation. So we have a lot of students that got probably multiple offers. So how do they deal with that part, right? How do they deal with that part, and how do they make sure that you're getting the most of the offers? So by the way, I think I skipped this part here. So actually, I'm gonna invite one of our alumni. He was a student. Let me just. Oh, I don't know how I can make him. There's a bug in there's a bug in Zoom, and I cannot invite him as of right now. So Emra, can you try to share your screen?
Sure, just a second. I don't think it's allowing me right now,
Yeah,
Elia.
so that's a bug of Zoom. So if you work for Zoom, you should be able to resolve that bug. So let me see if there's a way to.
Would you like me to rejoin?
No, no,
Would
I
that
don't
so?
think don't think so. So yeah, yeah, now it worked. Just one
Okay.
second, and then okay. So now if you can share your video now, should be. Oh, perfect, perfect. Finally worked. There's a bug in Zoom so that I cannot click on allowing the participant to share their video. So thank you for joining, Emra. So we have, as we have invited you also another time, right? So we have people that are joining the bootcamp. They are thinking about being a student, right, in next batch, which will start in September 7th. And you were in their shoes, right? You were a student of ours a couple of years ago, so you can talk about your experience, how it was before the boot camp, during the boot camp, and now that you're working as a software tester. And if they have any questions, of course, I'll share their questions with you. Okay?
Of course. So I don't know if you remember my background, but I didn't have any IT background. I was just basically like a language student. I was learning like foreign languages at college. So that being said, like I literally had no science background or computer science background. So I thought in the beginning it would be, complicated since I didn't know anything about it. But I realized that like the more I was focused on the classes, the easier it got. Even though I didn't have any knowledge, like prior knowledge, before the boot camp, I would say like it was easy because I didn't have to do anything about like an extra work apart from completing my homework. So learning phase was pretty simple. I just had to follow the like, Sabah U or or Shane. During my time, these were the instructors. But I believe that you have a very structured curriculum that breaks down like the components of the programming, especially for testing. So I would say like I enjoy my life right now because before I had to struggle a lot, work in different jobs. That's not easy. I don't know like if anybody can feel what I felt back then, but it was not easy. Right now, I'm very grateful, and I don't know if you can see it. Do you
Hmm.
remember this one?
Yeah, the shirt that we had.
Yeah. So it's just like a part of my life right now, and I'm very happy about it. Of course, I didn't stop after the boot camp. Like I don't know if you remember, but I applied about 1,400 jobs to get the job done. I got multiple offers to make sure that I was getting the best opportunity out of them. All of them were good. I think I made the best decision for my career because currently I'm the only automation engineer in my team. Basically, I structured everything from scratch and I didn't know anything else before the bootcamp. So all my knowledge was enough to do it, so to say.
Okay, so some of the questions are like when did you join the boot camp and then when did you graduate?
Year wise or month wise, are you?
Yeah, like around like if I don't know if you can give
Yeah,
an
it's
exact
all right.
date, but like just
Yeah.
month.
It was an April batch that I started. I think it ended about like November, um, roughly like 6 to 7 months. And we also had to do our like projects. That was like the last phase of graduating from the boot camp. I would say that was also pretty easy because we already knew what to do and we had enough skills to, get the job done. I think I got my first offer like right away. I think 3 weeks it took me to get my first offer, but I was not really, really satisfied, and I kept on applying more jobs to get the best deal out of it. I think I did that.
That's good. So like of course if you talked about all offers, like can you tell like what was the range of the salaries that you got in your offers and the one that you're working right now?
Um, so my current salary, of course, like there's salary, then there's package on top of that, right? You include everything, mine comes up to about 130, like including all the packages and the bonuses, and because we have 10% bonus every year, and then we have like health insurance, everything is covered by the company, and I had like to get rid of some tax issues. I pay like HSA, health savings account. The
Mhm.
company adds on top of that too. So altogether, my package comes to 130. But there was like I think like big range. It started from 95. The minimum offer I got. It was 95 and it was going upwards. But I chose the best package that I could get because yes, you can get the salary, but if you're getting like more deal from the package, why not choose the package, right?
Yeah.
So,
So sometimes the salary might be higher, but you don't have other benefits. So that's why you have to make sure you're getting the one which also you get the best benefit. And especially people that are married and have family and stuff, those are very important, the medical insurance and stuff. But
yep.
uh, so you have been working for how long right now? How many months there?
My current job is almost 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
And then are you working on like on site or are you working remote?
It was so initially this offer was hybrid. Because of some company network restrictions, I could get fully like remote job at this moment, right? But I think I kind of like the balance because I have a cat, and if I'm at home all the time, I cannot really focus on work. He likes to jump on my
Do you go a
computer.
couple of days a week you go to the work?
3 days a week I'm in the office, and 2 days I work from home. Usually, like Monday through Wednesday, I work from office, and then Thursday through Friday, I work from home.
That's good. One of the questions is, was it hard or easy for you to find a job in your case? How many jobs did you apply? You said you applied 14,000 jobs, right?
1,400. Yeah, I mean
Sorry, 1400,
1,400.
yeah.
But the think about it, like I got my first offer in 3 weeks. So if you think about it that way, like in 3 weeks with no like prior knowledge in programming, I was able to find a job. But I don't want to say I was greedy, but come on, I wanted to get the best deal, so I kept on applying.
That's good.
And after like 1 month and 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like I maybe like almost 2 months, I got the job that I was looking for.
That was the best offer that you got. And is it
Yeah.
a full time or are you contract based or like are you?
No, it's full time, full time.
Okay, and then just to make a joke, so who was the president when you found the job?
Trump.
Oh, so
Sorry,
that's
no. When I found the job, it was Biden.
okay. Doesn't matter. It's just a joke to
Yeah.
make sure that okay. So are you working in the US, of course, right?
Yes,
Which state did you get the offer?
Minnesota. The current job
Minnesota.
is in Minnesota. Yeah.
And as far as I remember, you relocated, right, for the job?
Yep. Yeah, I was in Massachusetts and then I moved here. Company helped me, like they paid for everything, including there was a crew who came, like picked everything from my house. They paid additional like money for me to, travel, which was more than enough, I guess.
Okay.
So it was a good deal. Yeah.
That's good. And also, what about now that you have like the living expenses are even cheaper there, right? Or like lower there, right?
So the state tax is a little higher than Massachusetts, just a little, like
Mhm.
6.5, but it's also like incremental. In my case, because I work in a financial insurance kind of domain, I kind of know how to, manage my money. I think if I was working in Massachusetts, I would be paying more in tax compared to here, because back then I didn't know any financial, I didn't have any financial information or knowledge. But right now it's better because I can contribute to 401k on the right amount. I can contribute onto HSA on the right amount to make sure that I'm, maximizing my benefits.
And you said you have a cat, right?
Yeah, we just bought it like when we came here to Minnesota.
Okay,
He
good.
was a kitten. Now he's like 6 months old.
That's good. Another question is are there software tester job that allows you to work overseas? So let me talk
Yeah.
about you. Does your company allow you to work, let's say if you want to
Yes.
go overseas?
Yes. Yes. I checked it because I was really wondering if I could go see my family back in my country, and work some part of the year there and then come back. Yes, the company allows that thing. And I also have like a full month of, paid time leave. And on
Mhm.
top of that, we can work from anywhere in the world, like a month. And this is additional, right? So 1 month of additional, like annual paid leave, and then 1 month you can work from anywhere around the world.
Remotely.
Um, but so for me, like 2 months in another country is, I think, more than enough. I would be
That's good.
back
So
in
by
the
the
US.
way, I've interviewed a lot of students. So some of them depend, all this always depends on the company. Sometimes the companies are really strict. They don't want you to work from outside of the country. Some companies are really flexible. They allow you to work like for multiple months, like wherever you want from. And does your team has a, let's say, a remote overseas team, or like you have only US based employees in your company?
So we do have like an offshore team, but they're not working with us. In my team, we're basically like looking behind the scenes, like in the back end of the application. We're doing like system tests instead of looking in UI or just, visual parts of the application.
Mhm.
So my team is completely on US on site, right? But I mean hybrid or work style. But the other teams in the company, because it's a large company and there are multiple teams, and I know that they have like offshore teams, etc.
Yeah, by the way, guys, our boot camp is considering students that are in the United States that have a working permit in the United States. If you are out of the country, then I don't think that it's possible for us, or we don't promise that we can help you finding a job remotely. So this is if you live in US, but you can find a remote job, or let's say on-site or hybrid. So so I just want to make sure that you have the information. So if you are, let's say, located in India and you're trying to do the boot camp to find a job in US, that's very difficult. It's not impossible, but we don't promote that part. Okay. Uh, okay. So I have a question. I'm gonna direct those questions to you just to make sure that you're
Of
answering
course.
them. So in your group, did you have any students that were over 50 years old, and
Yeah.
were they successful? What do you think? Like, is it doable for people that are 50-year plus?
Okay, let me tell you this story, and you're gonna love this. Okay. I don't know if you remember Uygar,
Mm-hmm.
another Turkish guy, right? So in December, I went to Turkey, and my friend, like my best friend in Turkey, has a hookah shop. Okay. This is ridiculous. So I went to my friend's like cafe, and then I was also talking to Uygar saying that, hey, I'm going to like Turkey. How are you? Do you want to meet and stuff like that? He said, yes, like I would like to. We realized that he was managing the like building that my friend rented for his cafe, right? I swear to God, like I was literally shocked. And Uygar was, I think he was above 50 years old. I don't know exact age, of course, but he was all, like more than 45 or 50 that year. But he moved here and then he learned pretty quickly. Like we were sharing our knowledge together, right? I didn't feel any lack of knowledge or practice on his side. So I believe it was pretty easy for him as well. I cannot, of course, speak on behalf of him, but I met him in person. I know that he's a good programmer as well, like a tester right now. So I guess it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah, so of course it depends on the people like background, what they love. So sometimes it's easy for men, it can be difficult for women or vice versa, right? Some people they let's say they find difficult the technical classes, some people they find difficult the soft skill classes, right? Or like it always depends. But we have had some couple of students that are about 50 that were able to find a job, and of course always depends on the dedication. If they take the boot camp seriously, if you they do the homework step by step and everything, they will be able to find a job at the end. The same with Emra. If he didn't take the bootcamp seriously, he wouldn't, even if he's young, he wouldn't be able to find a job. It's always depends on if you dedicate yourself, if you commit your, let's say, time and everything, and make sure that you are getting the best from the bootcamp, right?
Yeah.
And then, so you're like at the first company that you started, you're still working there, and you didn't like change because you have been there for 6 months, but probably in the future you might look for better jobs for different.
Yeah. I mean, in my current company, they're also trying to learn that from me. Like if I'm planning on leaving or anything, because I really do my documentation as well to make sure that if I'm leaving, I don't want to, leave them stranding, and I want to make sure that they're in good hands, right? Because I want to leave a good reputation if I leave. But in the near future, I don't plan to because everything is good on my side so far. The only problem is it's too cold here during the winter, but I can handle that. Like I have 2 months of basically vacation plus work. I can go anywhere from February to March or April, and I can deal with it that way, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't plan on
And
leaving anytime
generally, a
soon.
good suggestion is to stick for 2 or 3 years to a company and then look for another job, not like move every 6 months. But of course, always depends on if the company, like if they're like welcoming, if that's a toxic environment, you should leave as soon as possible. But if you're happy there, generally like 2 to 3 years is a good time to stay there. And if they want to hire somebody, don't forget to refer to our students because
I
you get a
know.
bonus from there, and also you're helping our students and everything.
Yep.
Do you have any other questions for Emra? If not, then I'm gonna thank him for joining, and I'm gonna let him go. So thank you very much for joining, Emra, for sharing your experience with the students. And if you have any final statements for them.
Um, I mean, the best thing I can say to them is that, like you said, they have to stay focused. It's easy to start the boot camp, right? But you have to be consistent and put the time. It's like planting a tree or a flower in our case because it's 6 months, right?
Mhm.
Uh, but you still have to water it. You need to know what you're like doing because eventually this will change your life. So I spent my whole summer studying, like getting into courses and working at the same time. It was not easy, right? Like it was, everybody wants to go out during the summer, enjoy the life. That's okay. But you need to give up on that 6 months and then you can collect your rewards and you can enjoy any summer from that moment. I mean, at least that's what I think I can tell them. But of course, it's up to them.
Yeah, that's by the way, we were supposed to start in August 10th, but since it's summer, as you said, it's difficult during summer, so we postponed the start date to September 7th. So and probably it will be helpful for them and probably more people to join the bootcamp. So thank you very much for joining, Amra, and sharing your experience. And if you need anything in the future, don't hesitate to contact our team as always. Okay?
Of course. Thank you so much. And last word. I know it's been a while since I graduated from the bootcamp. I still ask some questions and I still get answers. Like it's a really good network for for me because I just started from scratch. And of course, I will have some difficulties in my new job, but I still have help. So I really appreciate you guys for doing that. Of
Thank you. Thank you very much for your nice words, Imra.
course.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. So I'm going to continue where I left from. And then, as I said, like in a couple of minutes, Eric will talk about the pricing. So one of the things that I also want to mention is the salary. So like Emra shared his experience, right? So the salary sometimes there are like he got offers like 95. He got also offer for 130. We have had also students that even went behind, like above 130. But of course, that's not like every time. Sometimes, so generally the range is between, let's say, 90 and 130. And we can say, right, if you go yourself, go to Google, go to Glassdoor, go to ZipRecruiter and ask what is the salary of a software development engineering test, or short for it is SDET, and then you will see that so the salaries are above 100 a year. And of course, it depends on the state, it depends on a lot of other things. So I'm going to show you some offers that our students got, right? So I'm going to share some examples. So this is an offer that a student got in Orlando, Florida. The compensation is per hour, so it's $48 per hour. We generally, when we calculate this one, it makes like say 95 a year. So that is the calculation. 48 times 2 is 96, $96,000 a year. That is the salary. Another offer that a student of ours got, he got a very high salary, right? So he's the assistant president in the company that he was joining in New York, and the salary is 135,000, also a 20,000 bonus when they join the company. So these things always change with the company. He got a good offer, so it depends again on a lot of things. Another offer here is senior engineer, $45 per hour. So we hide the information. We don't want to expose confidential information, but I want to make sure that we share some offers with you. And again, this means 90,000 a year. So another one here, this is a biweekly salary, so 4,400. So if you multiply this one with 26, it will be like above 100, right? Let's say 105K plus a 2,000 sign-in bonus. Another offer, $112,000 a year. This is also in Florida. And another offer here is $80 per hour, which I think is probably this is the highest because it makes around 150, 160 a year. So this is an offer, right, as a QA engineer in Houston, Texas, right? So these are, as I said, some examples. So one which is on the low range is 82,000. So this, as far as I remember, this student of ours, she accepted this offer. He accepted this offer because he wanted to get some experience, and he was good because the company had a lot of benefits. Another one is 106, and if you go like you see different on 90, right? Different offers from different students, and these are right some real offers that our students got, and there we have hundreds of those. So again, these are some of the companies that our students are working for. So these are, let's say, like I believe these are in the 500 Fortune companies, right? So Bank of America, Oracle, eBay, AWS, CVS, right? Different companies. But of course, we have a lot of students that are working in other companies. We cannot list all of them here. Sometimes they can be a company which is not famous, but the salary can be even higher than these companies that let's say you're working for Bank of America and getting 110, but you can work for another company which nobody knows, but you can get 120 and 30 there because depending on the project that they have and depending on what they're trying to hire. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to invite back Eric. He's going to talk about, right? He's going to talk about the price because that's the most important part of the info session. And then again, right, if needed, I can come back at the end and then go back to your questions. So Eric, if you're there.
All right. Thanks so much, Ilyan.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, guys, if you can see my screen where it says average cost of IT education, if you could just make sure, if you can give me some acknowledgement in the chat that you can see that, just give me a Y real quickly here. A lot of you who have been been to school, if you have been to college, or maybe you got kids that are on their way to school, or maybe they were in school recently, you know that especially just how much education is nowadays in the US. I mean, $36,000 a year for a typical 4-year university, for a public university. And then when you look at the private schools, it's even more insane. I mean, it's 50, 60, 70, $80,000 in some cases. Now, obviously, you have the opportunities to get scholarships and grants, but people are paying a lot for education. I mean, we have what, over $1 trillion in student loan debt. And here's why I'm bringing that up. So you see this average cost, per year for 4-year schools. And then when you graduate, does the university have any obligation to help you land a job? No, they're not incentivized to do that. They already got your money. By the way, how many of you know someone? You can just respond in the chat. How many of you know someone who has a degree in a certain field and they don't even work in that field? Anybody know what I'm talking about? I have family who have degrees in psychology, physics, even never worked a day in either of those fields. So all that money that they spent, I won't say it's all for naught, but it's interesting that I think it's pretty widespread. People have degrees and they don't even have careers in that field. So average cost of a 4-year degree, I got one acknowledgement there in the chat that that was the case. That they know someone who has a degree in a field that they're no longer working or they're not working in. So you're looking at, 100 plus thousand, $200,000 for this education and no guarantee of a job when you get out. They have no incentive. And you look at the other boot camps. So we're a boot camp, 6-month boot camp. Other boot camps are at 13,000 and change. And you have us down here. Now we have a very unique way, a very creative way to help almost anybody get involved if this is what you really want to do. If you really want to change your life, you want to be like Emrod there, who's, it's like the old phrase is, the old saying is living the dream. He's got the flexibility. He's making really good money. He was with his pay structure. He said he was at around 130,000. Came into this not really having no industry experience. So a lot of people want to get involved, but they can't with most boot camps because they're just too expensive for them. So here's what we do. We have a very creative way to help people get involved, to help to bring the tuition way down. Let me walk you through how that works, okay? So the regular tuition is $52.49. Now, just by virtue of you being with us tonight, what we have is another $100 off for a webinar discount, as well as what we call our early bird discount. So you take both of these into consideration, that brings the total tuition down to 5,000 and change, 5,049. But that's not paid all at once. And there are ways that and there's more to this in a second. I'm going to run through that with you, okay? So the tuition winds up being, because of the early bird discount, because this is for those of you who are like, you know what, I like what I see here. I'm going to get in touch with you guys and potentially move forward. We'll give you the contact information in a minute. Also, the webinar discount that brings it down to 5,000 and change. So it's paid in 7 monthly installments of 721. Okay, 721 per month. Now, other boot camps, $200,000, $100,000 in 4-year degrees. They're not helping you find a job. Here's what we do that's different. We offer what's referred to as a placement fee. And the reason why our tuition is so much lower than everyone else is because of that placement fee. So here's how that works. You're not giving us your whole salary or anything like that, so don't worry, right? It's 85% of your first month's salary after you find a job. So in other words, if you don't pay this if you can't find a job, which we're going to do everything we can to help you land that first job, and that's paid in 4 monthly installments. So that's not paid all at once. We want you to have money to do things, to live your life. Now your life has changed. You're making good money. We're not going to take it all from you. It's just 85% of your first month's salary, and that's divided up into 4 monthly installments. That's how we keep the tuition really low here, less than half of what everybody else charges. And we don't give you fluff or anything like that. So just so we can say we have a 6-month boot camp. You got people like Elion who is out there in the industry actually teaching you, actually instructing you. Everything our education is completely market based. Now we can bring the tuition even down further for you. So when you're referred by a Neotech student or alumni, there's an even bigger discount. There's a referral discount. Just let us know when you reach out to us if you were referred by someone. We also offer group discounts. We really encourage groups to sign up, whether it's a group of two, three, or four, because or more potentially, because you can encourage each other. You can motivate each other. You can help each other out with your homework and maybe refer job opportunities down the road. But groups of two, each student gets another 150 off. Groups of three, each student will get 200 off. And then groups four or more, just reach out to us. But we're lowering that tuition even further for you. Now, here's a big question people have. What if I change my mind later? Well, here's the good news. No deposit. There's no application fee. You don't pay anything until the boot camp actually kicks off. You start paying when the classes start, not before. And check this out. You can cancel for free anytime until the boot camp starts. We offer a 30-day money-back guarantee in writing, no questions asked, 100% refund if you decide to leave until you complete your first month. So you can actually do our classes, participate for a month. If you decide, hey, this isn't for me, I want to go back to doing what it is I'm doing or keep doing what it is I'm doing. I don't think a career in IT is for me. No questions asked, 100% refund, 30-day money back guarantee. Guys, you can't beat it. So what this does is it puts us really on the same side of the table instead of being on the opposite side of the table because we are incentivized to help you land that first job, and we're doing everything we can to get you involved. So to learn more about the boot camp, here's what you do. Go to neotechacademy.com/bootcamp. You can book a call with our admissions team. That's at neotech.live/call. If you're not ready to call, submit your interest. Just go to neotechacademy.com/apply to let us know that, yeah, I have an interest. I'm not really necessarily ready to move forward yet, but I do have an interest. Just go to neotechacademy.com/apply. Secure your spot now. Now, here's the thing. Look it up here on my wall. I've got this big calendar. So we got September 7th coming up. That's not really too far away if you think about it. Um, that's what, three plus weeks away. There is some work for that we'll have you do before we actually start the boot camp. So you don't want to procrastinate. Emra saw the opportunity. He took advantage of it. Look how his life has changed. Some people say when it comes to any type of opportunity that, hey, let me get my ducks in a row. As soon as I get my ducks in a row and my life is perfect, in 6 months or a year or whatever, then I'll consider doing something like this. Guys, no offense. You've never had your ducks in a row. None of us have ever had our ducks in a row. Life is never perfect. As soon as you get that last duck in the row, what's that first one already doing? He's already moving over here. So don't procrastinate. It's human nature to do that. Reach out to us. Email us for any questions. team@neotechacademy.com. Again, schedule a phone call. neotech.live/call. We're giving you every single way to get in touch with us here. You can also call us directly, 929-566-3919. So why join Neotech compared to, going to a university or, teaching yourself, taking online courses? I won't run through all of these, but let's just run through a few of them here real quickly. So let's say you're self-taught. How long is that going to take you to complete? Well, who knows? Most people procrastinate. I have a friend, I've told this story before where he bought this book. He bought War and Peace. It was like a yard sale or something like that. He was like, man, I've always wanted this book, and it just the way it was bound, it looks so nice, and he's like, I'm going to read War and Peace. And I used to ask him, every month or so, so what chapter are you on War and Peace? I'm still on chapter one. So yeah, I think to this day he's still probably on chapter one. It's so. How long will it take you to complete? Who knows if you're self-taught. University, 4 years or more. Online courses are self-paced. With us is 6 months. It's cut and dry. 6 months, everything you need to know to get your career started in IT, 6 months. Self-taught, if you're learning, well, Well, presumably, if you are learning anything, you're just learning it by yourself. University is non-interactive usually. Sometimes you can ask questions, yes, but if you've got a class of 50 plus people, it's hard to get any type of personalized attention there. Online courses are unsupervised without this hands-on and live with real teachers. Industry expert trainers. Well, if you're self-taught, you're saying that you are the expert. University, maybe, maybe not. I When I got my business degree years ago, I remember one of my professors. Actually, I don't think any of my professors had, like real world business experience. It was more theoretical. So the person may or may not, in a university setting, have actual experience. Online courses, it doesn't exist. With us, it does exist. Career services, with us, is extensive and individualized. The learning content is up to date. It's market driven. We have a learning community, one-on-one mentorship, and our tech support is nearly 24/7. And guys, we have done literally everything that we can possibly do. We don't leave any stone unturned to teach you what you need to know to get your career started in IT, while on top of that, making it accessible, first of all, just to even get involved. Because so many boot camps out there, they want 13 grand, they want 14 grand, sometimes more than that. In some cases, they want it up front, or at least a good chunk of it up front. With us, low, lower point to get involved, and then we're going to help you. And then we're incentivized to help you land that first job. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I want to bring back Elion and invite him back, and we're going to see if you guys have some final questions for us. I'll also put this, let's see, there we go. So I'll put this up here as well, so you guys have our contact information. But go ahead, guys, if you have some final questions, you can fire away in the chat for us.
Yeah, so I think you explain everything. So that's why they don't have any questions. So yeah,
Going
one of the
once.
things that I would like to mention, because a lot of people have a question about, can you please go to the pricing,
Yeah.
Eric? Yeah. So here, right? So the tuition means like during the boot camp, during these 7 months, that is the tuition, and of course, that's 721 per month for 7 months installments. There are no interest fee there, and the second part is only after you, right? Yes, that's correct, Nikki. So only after you find a job is 85% of the first month's salary. That one also is paid with installments. So let's say you got 100,000 a year, which makes like about, let's say, 8,000 a month. So 85% of it, and you can pay that one with installments too, like with 4 installments. And by the way, if you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so if you are with a friend, right? So if you're a group of two, each of you gets some discount. If you're a group of three, the same thing. And if you are, let's say, referred by somebody like Emra, right? That was there. So you are also getting, right, another discount. So generally, let's say I want you to make sure you're getting all the discounts possible, so that if you join the boot camp, make it easier for you to do the boot camp, and then after that, right, you see for yourself. And what is more important, if you go to the next slide, you can, right, if you decide to join the bootcamp, guys, and to get all these discounts that are like today, like the webinar discount and the early bird discount. So let me close this one. So as of right now, guys, you don't pay anything. The first payment is done when the bootcamp starts on September 7th, right? So you just get a contract, you sign the contract, and then you don't pay anything. You pay the first installment on September 7th. For 1 month, you have, right, or 30 days, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. Let us suppose that you join the bootcamp, you find it difficult, you don't like it, or whatever, then you just text us, or like even you can mention that one in our classes. I want to drop off from the class, and then you will be refunded even the first, right, even the first payment. If you want to continue, then we continue with the second installment, and we consider you as a student. Generally, guys, we have a 2 to 3% drop off rate. And why do we do this one? We do this one because we believe in our bootcamp. We want to make sure that you try it for yourself. You're not forced into something that you don't know, you're scared. And also one of the most important things is that you give it a try. Maybe it's not for you, but I'm sure that you will suggest this one to other, like to your family, friends, whatever, because we have some, like I remember a couple of students, they didn't want to continue, but they referred other people and they joined the bootcamp and they did the bootcamp. So that is right. That is the purpose that we do it this way, to make sure that you are right, to make sure that you are uh, getting the best from there. Okay. So if you don't have any other questions, guys, we can wrap it up now, right? Depending on if you have any questions. If not, like it's less than a month from now. By the way, guys, if you decide to do the boot camp, even if you decide not to do the boot camp, you can also ask for free classes. If you go to our website, there's a place there where you can get free classes. So we have like the first couple of weeks of videos we shared with you, so that you prepare for the boot camp, so that when the first week starts, is not a shock for you. And also you can have a look at those videos even before signing in, even before registering for the bootcamp. Okay, so don't forget to go to our website and to give your email for the free sample videos. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining, and I hope to see you on September 7th.
All right, congratulations, guys. Take care.